Today I wanted to show you an introduction into using Google Calendar. So I'm going to log in to my G Suite domain for my district. You've probably already been using Google Calendar and probably didn't even realize that you were. So I'm going to show you quickly that if you have been using Google Classroom, you already have been utilizing Google Calendar. So every time you post an assignment and give it a date, that is in Google Calendar. So I'll show you this classroom that I have here. And when I go over to classwork, here's a Google Calendar right here. So it created a folder in Google Drive where it has all of my class items right here, but it also shows me a calendar. So I'm going to go over to my waffle and click on Calendar to show you a quick introduction into utilizing Google Calendar as a separate item. When you open your calendar, you will see that it has created a calendar for you, but it had also created a Google Calendar for each of your classes. So you can see them here. Most of the time they're clicked on, like this. And for this module, so it wasn't so busy looking for the video, as I just unclicked them to turn on only this one, and you'll see that this one is orange, so the items or events that are orange are the ones that belong to this calendar. If I wanted to see just this class, it gives me a different color, and you can see that it's a different color that showed up. So just by unclicking, it makes it a little emptier, so it's easier to see things in this demonstration. If I wanted to add something to my calendar, I can click here and this box will show up so that I can add my information here. I can add conferencing right here, which allows me to turn on Google Hangout right here so that I could create a meeting and I could allow users to text with me or a video chat or something like that if I wanted to. I could also have more options down here, and I could even additionally add an agenda, because you can see the little paper clip, so you know you can add a link there, or like a Google Doc or something like that, something from my drive. I could add that to a meeting or something so that the attendees could all have access to whatever agenda I need. The other place that you can do that is right here by creating. So I clicked here and it popped up. I could also create right here, and you'll see that same box comes up. So a lot of times Google has more than one way to do things. So that makes clicking around and figuring out how to do something fairly easy. Another thing I wanted to show you is the settings right here. So always settings are at the cog wheel. So you can click on settings. You can also click on changing the color here. Choose your event colors, your text color, your density, so you can change these settings here if you don't like the way it looks. I've just left everything to default, which I suppose is boring for some of you, but there is an option there how you can change it. So I'm going to go back here to settings just to show you a few of the main settings. You can change the time zone, your country, all of that, how you want the date format to look. You can also just scroll down here and see all of these settings. The other way to do that is to go down to these different headings. So you see it's just scrolling down too, but it's scrolling down by the category. So you can either swipe, scroll down, your preference. Event settings, you can decide if you want 30-minute meetings, which is their default, but you can change that so that you could have 15-minute meetings, 20-minute meetings, whatever you would like. And you can save that as a default for yourself. You can also decide if you want weekends to show in your calendar or not. So you can see this little pop-up is coming down at the bottom that it's saving it as I go, so I don't have to constantly stop and save. As in a lot of things, Google it auto saves for you, which will save you time. Then you can decide on these. Do you want your week to start on a certain day? Do you want a custom view where it's just showing the work week? Do you want alternate calendars? These are all options that you have for this calendar. To get out of settings, I can go back here. Something else that I wanted to show you is if I was going to, I showed you how to add an event, but you can also add appointment slots. Appointment slots would be very helpful for something such as parent conferences or something like that. So you could change your appointment slots, 30-minute slots, for a whole day. So I'll just show you how that looks like. If I set appointment slots for the whole day, I can decide when that day starts. So I don't think I want to start at midnight. So I'm just going to set it for the school day. And my appointment slots, I could change the duration of the appointment to whichever I want. I think our conferences over at the elementary have been 20 minutes. So whatever your administration says your appointment slot needs to be, you can set it for that time and save it. And then you'll see that I have these appointment slots. And that's how they look. So then as parents sign up their child for a conference, it would show up here in these appointment slots. So I wanted to show you that because I thought it was very helpful to you. Notice that it's showing me 2 days, so such as if you wanted to do 2 days of conferences or a whole week of conference or something like that, you can set that as well. The other thing I wanted to show you was that there are all kinds of additional add-ons that you can add for your calendars that Google has. So I'll show you this. It says add other calendars. You can subscribe to a calendar. You can create a new calendar. You can browse resources or browse calendars of interest. So there's all kinds of calendars that you can add that will also show. So you can see that this is checkmarked right here for the phases of the moon. I actually have this over here as one of my calendars where it will show that as well. If you wanted a certain sport team or something, you could show that as well in your calendar. You could show certain holidays if you wanted that to show as well. So I'm just going to show you some of the things that I have turned on. Again, I told you that every single one of my Google Classrooms has a calendar, and when I turn them on, I want you to see how this shows more and more items. So you can see everything at a glance for all of your classes and all of your different things that are going on. It could be, you could add something like a personal calendar if you wanted to, and you can set the settings so that you were the only one that sees that. So in these classes here, you see this is a classroom as well. It's a classroom that I am a student in, and that's just to support some other classrooms. But that way I can see all of these things. Here's my phases of the moon. And you can see with turning everything on, it gets much, much, much more busy as a view. So you can just unclick, I don't want to see that right now, or click it so that, yes, now you can see it. So according to your preference, if it gets too busy for you, you can toggle on and off just quickly. And then I wanted to show you how you could change those privacy settings for your calendar so that you're the only one that can see your events. So settings from my calendar, I want to make sure that Right now, it's available for everyone at the district, but they can only see when I'm free and busy. If I wanted to change that, I could give them the rights to see all the event details. So that is up to you. Notice that I do not have this checked, make available to the public. If you make your calendar available to the public, that means everybody is able to see your calendar. In some cases, if you were creating a calendar for the school and you wanted to make it available so that all the parents could see it, you could make it a public calendar. In this case, as a teacher, I'm not making my calendar public to the entire world. So be careful if you're adding that as a default, because it won't show up as a default, so just be careful with sharing that. You can give other people access permission so that you can share your calendar. So in this case, I'll show you who I shared it with. I'm the owner with the district, and this is our G Suite domain, and I have shared it with my personal account. So in that way, I am able to receive my notifications from my calendars on my phone. So in that case, I can always see my personal events and my work events. For me personally, I can see that. So that might be an option for you that you might want to add yourself there if you have a personal G Suite account as well. Thank you, everyone. I hope this is helpful, explaining a few things in Google Calendar so that you can get the most out of your G Suite domain.